Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the wildest geographic and economic paradoxes out there. We're talking about a piece of land roughly the size of Switzerland. It's home to 23 million people, and somehow it's become the absolute center of gravity for the entire modern world. Let's get into it.
So, the big question, why does one small island basically dictate global stability? We hear about Taiwan in the news all the time, right? It's usually framed as this straightforward territorial dispute or just a massive race for microchips. But honestly, it's so much more than that. When you actually dig into the data, the geography, the global logistics, you start to see this incredibly complex matrix. Technology, oceanography, international trade, they are completely 100% codependent here. Just to ground us before we really get into the weeds, $10 trillion. Let that sink in. $10 trillion. That is the estimated cost to the global economy if there's an all-out kinetic conflict over Taiwan. We're talking a catastrophic 10.2% drop in global GDP. To put that into perspective, that's roughly double the economic devastation of the 2008 financial crisis, double the COVID-19 pandemic. So how could one single island trigger a shockwave of that absolute magnitude? Well, we need to break it down.
Here is the roadmap for this explainer. First, the silicon nervous system. Second, the first island chain. Third, maritime arteries and choke points. Fourth, those trillion-dollar conflict costs. And finally, the global stakes.
Section 1. The silicon nervous system. Think about the sheer scale of this market dominance. In the fourth quarter of 2025, TSMC commands an absolutely astounding 70.4% of the global pure-play foundry market. Just to put that into perspective, the runner-up, Samsung, they hold just 7.1%, followed by China's SMIC in third. This isn't just a comfortable lead, guys. It's essentially a monopoly on advanced node chips. We're talking the 3nm and 2nm tech that is literally desperately needed for AI servers, Google TPUs, your flagship smartphones, the whole shebang. And this dominance, it matters directly to your daily life. Take just one European nation, for example, the Netherlands, and look at how heavily it relies on Taiwan for its most critical sectors. We aren't just talking about your laptops or gaming consoles here. We're talking about pacemakers, defibrillators, advanced wireless networks, radar systems, even the power conversion tech inside wind turbines and solar panels. Taiwan makes up 92% of the world's advanced logic chip fabrication, 92%. If those shipments stop, the production of these literally life-saving and green technologies just grinds to a halt globally. But here's the thing you really need to understand. Taiwan's dominance is not just about one giant company. Let's look at the numbers for their entire integrated circuit, or IC sector, in 2024. The total output of this ecosystem is a staggering $165.6 billion. They've built this completely integrated, highly specialized microelectronics cluster. You've got over $101 billion purely in manufacturing chips for other companies. That's supported by almost $40 billion in chip design, plus massive back-end packaging and testing sectors. It's like a giant, super dense puzzle. And this specialized ecosystem cannot just be replicated overnight in Arizona or Germany. It just doesn't work that way.
Moving on to Section 2, the first island chain. So ever since the Cold War, defense planners have kind of viewed Western Pacific geography through the lens of defensive lines. Enter the first island chain. This is a continuous 5,000-kilometer arc of archipelagos running from Japan through Taiwan and the Philippines all the way to Borneo. It basically acts as a maritime barrier, hemming in the East Asian marginal seas from the wide open Pacific Ocean. And if you picture a map right now, Taiwan sits smack dab in the center. It is literally the keystone of this entire geographic structure. What's utterly fascinating here is the actual oceanography surrounding this keystone. To the west of Taiwan, you've got the Taiwan Strait, separating it from mainland China. It's surprisingly shallow, actually, only about 60 to 80 meters deep. From a naval perspective, that is a terrible place to hide a submarine. It's super easy to detect them with sonar arrays and patrol aircraft. But switch over to the east coast of Taiwan, it practically drops off a cliff into the Philippine Sea, plunging into deep trenches over 5,000 meters deep. Those depths are ideal for nuclear submarines. If control of Taiwan were to shift, it would grant immediate, unhindered access to those deep water trenches. Nuclear-powered ballistic missile subs could just deploy directly into the open Pacific, entirely bypassing monitored maritime choke points. So this relatively simple difference in ocean depth, it completely defines the naval balance of power in the Indo-Pacific. Section 3. Maritime arteries and choke points.
When you think of the world's most critical maritime choke points, your mind probably goes straight to the Suez Canal or the Strait of Hormuz, right? But the Taiwan Strait is absolutely right up there at the top. The strait is about 180 kilometers wide, narrowing down to just 130 kilometers at its tightest point. Yet a staggering 90% of the world's largest ships transit this exact body of water. 90%. It's a multi-dimensional logistics artery. We aren't just talking about advanced electronics passing through here. This is the primary route for the fossil fuels required to keep the lights on in massive industrial hubs across Northeast Asia, places like Tokyo, Nagoya, and Seoul.
Section 4, trillion-dollar conflict cost.
So, conservative economic forecasting models from researchers at Bloomberg Economics and the Rhodium Group have outlined two frankly terrifying scenarios. First up is the blockade scenario. This is a situation where commercial shipping is halted, but without an all-out war. Even this would inflict an estimated $2 to $5 trillion in losses in just the first year. That's a 5% drop in global GDP. But if things escalate into the kinetic conflict scenario, meaning all-out war, we are looking at that $10 trillion cost we talked about at the start, an unprecedented 10.2% contraction of the global economy. Taiwan's economy would plummet by 40%, and China's economy, which is highly dependent on global trade and tech imports, would contract by nearly 17%. But here's what's really crucial to grasp. The physical halting of ships and microchips, that is literally just the tip of the iceberg. We have to look at the unseen financial risks. Every single year, banks provide between $6.5 and $8 trillion in short-term finance just to facilitate global trade. In a crisis over Taiwan, risk-averse investors would instantly pull back. We'd see a massive global liquidity crunch. This freeze would disrupt at least $270 billion in broader trade between China and the rest of the world, and that's regardless of any official sanctions. Plus, add to that the $127 billion in foreign direct investment assets sitting inside Taiwan right now, those would instantly be frozen or at risk of appropriation.
Section 5, the global stakes. There's this quote from our source material that I think just perfectly summarizes the whole explainer today. Taiwan is not merely a geopolitical dispute, it is the physical and digital keystone of the modern international order. And honestly, they hit the nail on the head. It's the anchor of the first island chain, protecting maritime freedom in the Pacific. It's the irreplaceable beating heart of the global semiconductor industry, literally producing the foundation for the AI revolution and the entire green energy transition. And it sits right astride a waterway that serves as the commercial lifeline for half the globe.
Which leaves us with this final thought. We've spent decades building this highly optimized, heavily integrated global economy. But if the entire modern world, from the smartphone in your pocket to the actual naval balance of power, relies on a single, highly contested 130-kilometer strait, how resilient is our global system really? It's a question that every global leader, CEO, and frankly every citizen needs to be asking right now. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.